Row for Show Productions presents Brothers Being Brothers, a lifestyle podcast.
It's a problem.
Welcome to the Brothers Being Brothers podcast. I'm your host, Rochelle Hamilton Jr., and I got my guys, K-Rob and Mac Ronay. Fellas, say what's up to the people.
Well, what's going on, guys? This is Mac Ronay. Got some interesting topics today, so let's get into it and see where we go with it.
Ditto, let's go.
For sure. Well, actually, before we go, I want to send a special thanks out to both of y'all, man. You know, the last few weeks have been kind of crazy. Y'all been riding with me. Y'all are some true brothers being brothers. So I just got to send a shout out to y'all and tell you thank you from the bottom of my heart because, man, I've had to switch stuff up and everything. And y'all have said, hey, man, whatever you need, we got you. It's all gravy. So thank you from the bottom of my heart from me to y'all.
Absolutely.
For sure. For sure. Y'all are true brothers, man. So yeah, let's jump right into it, man. You know, this month is February. Of course, as we all know, it's Black History Month. And, you know, while we take this month out, well, we Black every day of the week. So it ain't just a month for us. But, you know, while I guess mainstream America celebrates Black History Month, and it's cool for us to be in the spotlight in this particular month. One thing I would like to see these companies do when it comes to Black History Month, I would like Black History Month to be more than just a marketing gimmick. I would like Black History Month to actually mean something to these companies. And I mean, I know they put out their little statements and, you know, their marketing gimmicks, their marketing swag and everything else. But one thing I notice about Black History Month is, you know, when it comes to mainstream America, once February 28th comes and goes, that Black History thing, we don't hear a lot of it. And, you know, Black History is so much more than just a month. I mean, right. Black History, I mean, we built this country. I mean, this just put it out there. The American education system has done a terrible job at, you know, telling the truth of what Black history is and what it means to America. You know, slaves built the White House. They built many buildings over in Washington, D.C. Slaves helped build the railroads and things like that. I mean, just a lot of the infrastructure and framework of America was built by slaves. And unfortunately, a lot of Black history has been erased from American history books. So for me, when I hear Black History Month, I do take pride in it as being a Black man, especially a Black man working in media, where Black people are not represented like we should be. We're getting there, but we're not represented like we should be. I take pride in it, but also at the same time, I would like Black History Month to be more than just something for mainstream America to pat themselves on the back and say, "Oh, we're diverse, diversity." You know,
that's more than just affirmative action month.
Yes, I want to see more than just affirmative action. I want to see companies actually having more diversity on these diversity boards or these diversity coalitions or whatever they want, whatever the little trendy word that they put. I want to see more diversity in boardrooms. You know, I want to see more diversity across the board. I want to see, you know, Black people and minorities have better chances at getting, you know, equal chances at getting housing and, you know, funding for businesses and cars and things like that. I want Black history. We talk about equality. I want Black history, and I want Black History Month to reflect that. No, you know what? Forget Black History Month. I want to see a Black History Year, and I want to see minorities represented like we should be across the board, not just when a month comes around or not just when an unarmed Black person gets, you know, assaulted or killed by police officers. I want to see that same energy that we had for George Floyd and these other incidences and, you know, Jacob Blake and all that same energy that followed that. I want to see that, but I want to see it from the heart. So that's what I think about when it comes to Black History Month for me. But now I want to hear y'all. I'll get y'all's take on it.
Well, I mean, I don't want to see Black History Month. I don't want to see Black History Year. I just want to see history that we're a part of. Period. Right. Why are we not just part of history? Period. Or are we singled out for just a month or singled out for just a year when we're part of history? Period. You know, I want to see us being part of history. And I don't know. I'm in a petty mood today. I don't know why. Something. I don't know why. So I'm just gonna petty rebel it today.
Talk about it.
But while we get even so they throw us the shortest month any damn way. We get the shortest month of the year to celebrate Black history. And like you said, it's more of a gimmick now. Like
Right.
who's talking about it? Like what are we learning? What do they teach about it? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's more for advertising. It's just monetary, pretty
Right.
much.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, you how they say, despise not small beginnings, biblical. But I can understand that and appreciate that. But at this point, it's definitely past a small beginning. And like we stated, or people state all the time, a healthy relationship is always centered around um, not necessarily evenness, as well, I did something for you, now it's your turn to do something for me, but an even amount of like effort, an even amount of effort. And I if I'm with a lady or a job or doing anything, I want to be celebrated more than just 1 month. And for me, I'm not the type of person that needs people to pat me on the back to tell me that they appreciate me or love me or are they thankful for me. If I'm doing a job, if I'm making good money, the paycheck tells me you appreciate me because you could always hire somebody else.
Right.
So I take that same respect or that same understanding to like Black history. Well, if you respect me and love me, then take care of me more than 1 day, more than 1 month. Let's show the respect year round, month around, day around, hour around, like all the time, because we don't necessarily need a month to be like, all right, it's your turn now. And then when your turn is over, it's like, all right, cool, go sit back down until I'm ready for you, another 12 months later, you know.
God,
Right.
And, so that's my thing. I appreciate it and I understand why people may do it or why things are done. But if we were celebrated all the time, we wouldn't need Black History Month. It would just be,
exactly,
it would just be all inclusion,
Hmm.
exactly.
everybody, so
And I do feel I don't know if this is the right way to sum it up, if or even this is how you feel about it, King, but like, I do feel like it's a bone thrown to you. Like, here's your
okay,
bone. Oh,
Hmm.
here, we finally did something. Here, go away now. Be quiet. Are you satisfied?
yeah,
And it's definitely that feel to it. And like I said, like I just don't want it just be Black History Month. I don't want a Black History Year. I just want it to be history that we're part of. Period.
yeah,
Right.
No,
I
because that's
agree.
what that's what we're fighting for. That's the whole thing. That's what this is all about right now.
Yeah,
Equality.
hmm
Yeah.
So it's just funny how history repeats itself.
Yeah.
Here we are, right back in the same spot. Equality.
every tradition can be what's the word I want to use? I don't want to like amend it and so to
Yeah.
speak. Like you can create a new tradition. I don't think a tradition has to stay whatever the tradition is, for the sake of saying I'm doing the tradition for the sake of like some pat on the back. Because I think the word tradition, people use that as a way to say, well, it's always been like this, so let's keep it like that. And tradition says, oh well, I grew up without a mom and a dad, so I'm gonna be a low life. No, that don't have to be like that. A tradition
Right.
don't have to say, well, your family member had cancer because they were gluttony. So the tradition don't have to be the same with me, and then so forth and so forth, everything else. And so
Right.
I think that same principle can apply to like Black history. Tradition says that Black man my age, this. Well, I'm trying to defeat those odds. Matter of
Right.
fact, I will defeat those odds. I will be the new tradition. So the new tradition
There you
is
go.
young, Black, brilliant, educated. I can have money too. I can have wealth. I can have real estate. I can have businesses. I can have, I can be whatever I want to be. And that I feel like we should, as Black people, do our best
Mhm.
to push like a new tradition. And I'll say this as a disclaimer: I appreciate any person who is not Black that has appreciated me or any other Black person more than just Black History
Right.
Month. You know what I'm saying? Because like you say, you don't want to feel like we're bashing. We're just speaking from a place of
Mhm.
where we've been and what we dealt with. But I definitely want to always say thank you to any person who's like go beyond doing Black History. And I know if it's your job on TV or anything like that, then of course you got to do a certain thing that they
Right.
are telling you to do. But for people who actually are celebrating us every day of the week, just like we would like to celebrate anybody else every day of the week, then I would like to
Right.
say thank you on
So
behalf
I
of
mean that
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
goes into saying anybody who treats you the way you want to be treated, that's who
right.
you want to celebrate.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. I agree.
Exactly. And the thing about it, and I know that a lot of people, and I think sometimes even non-black people, it comes from a place where they want to do good, but I think sometimes they're also in a place where they don't understand how it can kind of come off. And what I mean by that is, like I know going back to what you were saying, King, where sometimes it kind of feels like Black History Month is kind of like that deal where it's like, here we gave you this, now kind of just go away. And I think sometimes non-black people, while they mean well, I don't think they fully understand, what we're, how am I trying to say it? I don't think they fully understand sometimes what we mean or why we say the things we say or why we go about stuff the way we go about it. Because, yes, on one hand, while we do have Black History Month, it's kind of like when Laura Ingraham told LeBron James to shut up and dribble. It's kind of like, sometimes you see that attitude of, here, well, we gave you this multi-million-dollar contract. Go dribble the ball. We don't want to hear what you have to say. Or, Colin Kaepernick, perfect example, where people felt like because he was this multi-million-dollar football player, he should have to do what the league says he should do when it comes down to the national anthem. So I don't even know. I don't even know if I'm even saying this the right way. It's just sometimes I really feel like non-black people, they where it's coming from a good place. Sometimes I don't think they understand why we're upset about things that we're upset about. You know what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
No, you
Yeah.
you
Um.
making you making perfect sense.
Okay.
I'm sorry, just to piggyback on that. So let's look at the riots, right? And let's look at
Mm-hmm.
the poor officers that went through what they went through, getting
Mm-hmm.
sprayed with mace, getting hit with bricks and sticks and stones. That's what generations of black people went through all the time. That was a regular day. That was a
Yeah.
Tuesday. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So now, and again, that sucks, and I hate that for him or for any officer, male, female, whatever race, creed you are out there who got hurt. My thoughts and prayers go out to them, and I'm glad that the ones that are safe, and thoughts and prayers go out to the ones who did lose their lives. But I say that just to say that basically people are like yours. I'm sorry. Basically, what you're saying, Ro, is that to piggyback what you're saying, what I'm trying to damn, what I'm trying to say is
It's been one of
let
them
me see if
days,
I can
dog.
get it out. What I'm trying to say is no one can feel what you're saying and understand things you say if they haven't walked a mile in your shoes.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say. I don't
Yeah.
know why
Yeah.
it took so damn long to say it, but that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. People. I think that's why the understanding of empathy should be exercised more than necessarily sympathy. And
Right.
I think it's vice versa. Sympathy gets exercised more than empathy, and then that starts to turn into all right, well, okay, I did this now. Now what? Or is that it? So if we exercise that, then we start to be better about looking at who you are from a different lens, because I don't know what it's like to grow up rich. So I couldn't even tell you about a rich kid's problem. They may be like, well, my mom and dad wasn't here. They just paid somebody to watch us. And
Right.
a housekeeper raised me. And I'd be like, well, my parents made good money. They took good care of me, but they were in the house,
They were there. Yeah.
so I can't speak and say that everything is only based around being black, but in this particular situation or perspective we're speaking about, then yeah, it is about being black. But I empathize with them. I'd be like, well, let's talk about it, or let me try to understand that point of view. And I think I've heard this word used a lot here lately. It's just got to have a lot of tough conversations.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, and you know what? This is interesting about the tough conversations, because I think that's kind of it. With the tough conversation, it's going to be one of those deals where we do need to have them, but it's also, I think, one thing we forget as people, and I guess you could even say this on both ends. When it comes down to that tough conversation, one aspect of it is every party in it has to be basically okay with being offended to some degree, because when you're having that tough conversation and we're being honest with each other, well, we have to be honest. When if we go and talk to a white person that can't understand what we're going or what we've dealt with, they don't see things the way we see. Well, they're probably going to have some misconceptions when it comes down to black people. I know I was listening to Dan Orlovsky of ESPN a while back, and he made a really good point. He grew up in the suburbs. I can't remember exactly where he's from, but he grew up in the suburbs, and he said football taught him that not all black people were a certain way. Before he got into football, that's just how he was raised. He was raised that all black people acted a certain way, all black people walked a certain way and talked a certain way, and they had different hygiene habits. But once he got into football, he saw that, oh man, these are really good. There's some good people on this side. And like when I heard that, I was kind of dumbfounded, but then it brought me back to it. I was like, wait a minute. That just goes to show that, there is a lot of misconceptions. There is a lot of ignorance, surrounding black culture out there. So when we talk about having those tough conversations, not only do we want to be heard, but when we sit back and we listen to somebody else with a different perspective, we got to be okay with being offended. And I know that it kind of sucks to say it like that, but at the end of the day, because once we say what we're going to say to this other party, they're definitely going to be offended by some of the things that we say because the viewpoints are different. Yeah. And a lot of time as people, we do two things when we don't understand something. We either fear it or we get upset with it because at the end of the day, we fear change. We fear things that we don't know. So I think when it comes down to that tough conversation, both sides have to be okay with some degree to being offended, because your viewpoints are going to be shaken up one way or the other, no matter which side of the coin you're on. So that was just one aspect of it. When you said tough conversation, it made me think about that. And but it was actually kind of cool to hear that, because you don't hear a lot of non-black people, come out and admit that, even though a lot of them actually feel that way. I mean, this was a guy who, he just said, hey man, it wasn't so much that I had anything against him. It was just the way he was brought up. I have a few friends that were like that. And when they met me and some of my homeboys that I grew up with, they were like, oh, wow, okay. I see that the things that I was taught as a child about this culture, it's not all true. Yeah. So it opened up their eyes to a lot. So I was just, my bad, man. I didn't mean to get long-winded.
On another spectrum, that's kind of different from the whole Black history perspective is, and even culturally, we have to also do our part while we're talking about everybody else. We have to do our part to not say that all white people are this, all Asian people are this, all and so forth and so forth. And not to single those out, but those are the first two that came to my mind. But
no, you're right.
Definitely with the white-black hype, because I know that in America, that's one of our biggest, problems. And so, we can't think that every person that you meet that's not your color is this or that. And so it's got to start on both ends, And I agree with you, man. We as a culture, I seen somebody say on TV, Victor Cruz say, we got to learn that having a tough conversation or speaking your feelings or emotions doesn't make you weak, especially as a Black man.
Right. And speaking of emotions, that actually transitions to our next topic. That's perfect timing, because mental health is a big deal. I mean, it's always been a big deal, but it hadn't been brought to the forefront like it has just, over I guess maybe the last 5 or 6 years, it's really kind of been brought to the forefront. But I know one thing about mental health in the Black community, and I know, King, you touched on this a few weeks ago when we were talking about the weight loss that I had, and I remember you had asked me, had I, looked into therapy and this and that and the other. Well, maybe not asked me, but you said that was one of the things that maybe somebody else who didn't take the route that I took or didn't think about things the way I think, maybe that's something that they should look at. And one thing that when it comes to mental health in the Black community, we tend to look at therapy as like a bad thing. And that's one of the stigmas that we got to shake as people, that therapy is not a bad thing. I mean, now, and I know a lot of that comes from a historical context because, many times in the past, we as Black people, we tend to turn our backs on medicine, on professional help. And a lot of that's rooted in things like the Tuskegee experiment and, medical racism and things like that. So I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just, it's maybe misguided is maybe a better word for it, just based off the history. But, too, a lot of the times with Black people, we tend to say, "Oh man, you don't need that. You just need to pray a little bit." And at the end of the day, it's cool to believe in God. I'm a God-fearing man. I believe in God. And now, true, God can, and God can heal all things. That's true enough. But God also gave these men and women, knowledge to be able to, work or help a person work through issues like depression, like anxiety, because life can throw curveballs on top of curveballs on top of curveballs. And he gave these people, special skills and knowledge to help people work through real life crises. So I guess for me, one thing I'd like to see as, us as a culture is to not close the door on getting not close the door on mental health when it comes to therapy and professional help and things like that. So I just want to get y'all's perspective on mental health in the Black community and where you stand on that.
You want to take this one, King?
All right. Yeah, I'll take a stab at it. So for me, I think mental health is. I think people can't confuse mental health with mental illness. Mental health just means being healthy mentally, being healthy in your mind, being healthy in your thoughts, being healthy in your day-to-day life and your approaches and your perspectives. Um, but I think some of our mental trauma comes from like lack of resources, lack of understanding,
Right.
lack of financial,
Mm-hmm.
possibilities like that. Any financial implications, it hurts our possibilities of that stuff happening. And
Yeah.
like you were saying, culturally, we are taught to be tough, and we're taught that some Black people can be very spiritual, and I think sometimes we try to make being spiritual fix something that we have to kind of take on naturally. And the
Right.
spirit can help, but naturally you got to do it too. Like they kind of work hand in hand, even though some people try to separate them. And I just think culturally, like we have to, like you said, man, seeing a therapist doesn't mean you don't believe in God. I think that's the
Right.
thing that people kind of make it seem like. And I have to be honest with you, man. I think I've had my fair share being when I was younger of thinking that, and if I go see a therapist, man, is something wrong with me? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's
Absolutely.
because media raises those sense of plight, towards people in general. And so sometimes you study and learn and understand stuff on your own once you get older and you start learning. Oh man, this could be good, and um, so I just really hope that people who feel like they need help or want to express themselves really express themselves to somebody who's unbiased. A pastor doesn't always have to be the person you express the self to. And I'm not bashing a pastor, but um, I think there's more people that you can talk to sometimes. Sometimes it's cool to talk to somebody who don't have any understanding of spirituality because they may come from an angle that you
Yeah.
don't that you don't see coming, and that may actually help you in your mind and your thinking. Sometimes you can like reprogram, like when you buy a universal remote and you had a Sony TV and now you didn't bought your Samsung and it's like, I like this remote. Well, I got to reprogram it, so I got to like
Right.
factory reset. I got to hit all of these buttons to tell it reset, and then I got to hit these buttons to program it to this TV. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we got to just be programmed to understand that mental health is actually what can help us excel in all around life.
Yeah. I'm piggyback on what you guys said. I definitely 100%, agree with seeing therapists. I see as therapists. Me and my wife, we see therapists, and not to say, oh, the our marriage is rocky, or the relationship is headed for divorce. None of that. We go to therapists and check in. You know what I mean? And that's what kept our played a big part of our marriage being so healthy, because we go to check in, and we work on our communication. Some of the things that maybe I'm not hearing, the counselor is telling me, well, maybe you're not listening correctly.
Right.
And maybe the counselor is telling my wife, hey, well, maybe you're not listening correctly. So um, I look at it for maintenance. It's awesome. You know what I mean? And not necessarily going when when you're deep in trouble, but before, so I do it for maintenance, just to keep it to where we're not like that. We'll never, before the problems come. I do counseling. Man, I've had anger problems, I've been through things, and it's helped out a lot, for me to express myself and for me to get those things out, instead of letting them boil in, boil in, boil in, and then come
Mhm.
out sideways on somebody, come out
Right.
sideways on the family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's definitely, I definitely suggest seeing a therapist. I don't see anything wrong with it. I went, I didn't think, oh, am I crazy? You know what I mean? Those stigmas they should be out the window. You know what I mean? And even if I did, all right, well, if I think I'm crazy, I need to go to get help. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I just think that there is this big stigma in the Black community. Oh, well, if you go, you're weak, or you know what I mean? And it it parents did say all the time, like I've heard it too, that you don't need therapists, that's crazy, blah blah blah. And like we're programmed to fight going to therapists, you know what I mean? Because we don't have the knowledge, you know
Right.
what I mean? And I mean, if anyone is listening and hearing this, if you having trouble, or if you want to, do maintenance as well, I mean, I would reach out to a counselor to get some help, someone to talk to. It definitely helped.
Yeah.
And oh, go ahead.
No, you good. I was just agreeing with
Oh,
you.
yeah.
But and Drew is going well, piggybacking on what you said. I don't know if y'all remember President Obama some years back. He talked about him and Michelle. They actually went and saw I guess they called it a marriage counselor.
Yeah,
But they got marriage therapy. That's what saved their marriage throughout his presidency. And because I remember he opened up about that presidency put a big strain on their marriage
I
because
can imagine.
she didn't, because actually at the end of the day, Michelle didn't really want him to run for president. She just supported him because she knew that was his political endeavor, and she knew that was something that he really wanted to do. And so she went ahead and just bit the bullet and supported him. And when it came down to the second term, she was ready to be done after the first term, but he wanted to go through the next 4 years. And I remember he said that it was marriage counseling that saved their marriage, which really, in on one aspect, it shocked me because it's like, man, you see him out in public and in the media and this and that and the other. But on the other hand, it didn't really shock me because we only see maybe less than 1% of what truly goes on in these people's lives. So when I heard that, I was just like, man, I thought it was a great deal because you don't see a lot of Black people admitting that they go to therapy. And and on another the opposite aspect of it, one thing we really got to shake, talking about shaking that stigma. And King, I know you'll remember this because you watch sports, especially like a lot of basketball. But you remember when Paul George, when they were down in the bubble, he said that he was dealing with depression and anxiety and things like that. And
Mhm.
then fast forward to this season in a game against the Phoenix Suns, you had Devin Booker calling him a soft A N word. So, and you had a few other guys, calling him the same thing. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, man, that's part of the reason why you don't hear about a lot of Black, especially a lot of Black men coming out and saying that they're dealing with these struggles because they don't want to go through the ridicule. They don't want to be called the softy.
Yeah.
And that stigma is something that has got to be shaken because we got a lot of brothers out here that are dealing with some things, that are dealing with some heavy, heavy stuff.
Well, you know what I'll say to that? Well, if
Yeah.
you're, whether you're famous or not, if you feel like, well, first of all, if anybody is going to be in the spotlight, it don't matter what good. you do, there's always going to be a level of scrutiny that comes with
Hmm.
your actions, thoughts, words, perspectives, opinions, truths,
Hmm.
facts, and
Yeah.
so forth and etc. But if you are the type of person to be like, I want to try to protect that, or I want to keep it under wraps. Culturally, we are bad about the understanding of a small community.
Yeah.
Like having a small community, that culturally term I've heard a lot in like majority like culturally white churches. They'd be like small groups, small communities,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like where you just have like 10 other guys that that y'all may be in a group text. Y'all meet once a week and y'all check in, accountability partners, and you hold each other up. And it may be a place for you to actually just go like let it out and vent. And I'll honestly say, man, I have a lot of close people that I can have like really, really in-depth conversations with that helps. But for people who like need that, maybe they should seek out some small communities or groups where they can talk to people and still kind of have that therapy understanding or that sense of therapy with a small knit of people, and maybe that could also help. And just a suggestion and perspective versus everybody always knowing about certain problems,
Mm.
because I think telling a small group of people is still the same amount of admitting to
Mhm.
12 million that you do to 12 people. You know what I'm saying? Or how many ever. Because at least you're telling somebody and you're letting those emotions be understood and said to somebody else, in my opinion.
Right. So I guess the question I would have is, I guess on a bigger scale, um, how do we as Black people shake the stigma or start working towards shaking the stigma surrounding um, professional health? Even issues going to the doctor without even talking about mental health. We can talk about physical health because a lot of time we don't like to go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I know I read something not too long ago, and I know where it said Black women are dying at higher rates during pregnancy than any other group in America, which was really alarming. Another stat said Black children and babies have a greater chance at survival when cared for by Black doctors and nurses.
Oh wow.
So I guess which shocked me because I did not realize that. But I know when I was talking to a young lady, probably about 2 or 3 months ago, um, one thing she said is that a lot of time as Black women, medical professionals don't believe them when they say they're having these issues. And I know we've heard of stories of there was a doctor not too long ago, a Black female doctor who ended up passing away from COVID because at the very hospital she worked at, because they didn't believe what she was telling them. So I guess when you factor all of when you hear about things like this, when you factor all of this in, how do we as Black people start working towards breaking down these stigmas when, you know, part of us knows we should seek out professional help, whether it's, for mental reasons or physical reason, but another part of us is scared to do so because we've heard the horror stories of what's going on. So how do we work towards all that? And this, I don't even think there's a right or wrong answer. It's just, this is like a brainstorming session. Like, how do we break through this?
It's just basically regaining trust. It's basically just regaining trust. I was born premature. I was
Okay.
born 1 pound 6 ounces.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, I stayed in an incubator for 3 months. The doctor told my mother that I wasn't gonna be able to walk until I was
Mm.
about 7 years old. I wasn't gonna be able to talk, and I wouldn't be able to form sentences. Kind of like I'm doing today. It might be true, but but but
Bro, you got a story, dog. Wow.
but
Man.
and they said I was gonna have learning disability and just all this negative stuff. In which, looking at me now, I really feel like that was just a big write-off. You got this Black woman and this Black kid, and we don't really want to do anything. Hey, look, he's premature. He's gonna have problems. You know, that's what it is. Instead of,
Mhm.
maybe there's a better percentage of if he does this, or maybe we have a better chance if we do. You know what I mean? I think that if we were a white, my mom was white, or if I was white, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we would have got different news.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Opposed from,
mm,
you know, being my mom being black and me being black, I think that's why it was kind of a write-off. And so since then, yeah, I was, I don't want to hear what doctors got to say. Why would I? You know what I mean? It was a
right.
lie. I,
Right.
I started walking when I was 7 months old. 7 months old.
Okay, strong legs.
Hey,
Right. You know
hey,
what I'm saying?
Dinosaur leg. Okay.
hey,
Golly.
the flash, bro. But yeah. So you know, going from the doctors telling me and telling my mom I won't be able to walk until I was 7 years old to walking at 7 months. Yeah, there's a lot of mistrust going on at this point. You know what I mean? And I didn't go to doctors until my late 20s. You know what I mean?
Mm,
I think the real time I really went to the doctor was probably maybe like 7 years back when I had my appendix taken out,
okay.
and that's just because it hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think it's just trust. There's got to be some sort of way we can build trust, that we can trust the doctors, that if they're not, if they don't look like us, that they're still going to care about us.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I don't know how, we to build that trust other than just going and seeing, okay, well, this doctor wasn't for me. Let me go to a different doctor. You know what I mean? There, you can get second and third and fourth opinions. And, we don't know that. We just think, okay, we go here and that, and then what they say, that's that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's law, but it's not. You can get
Right.
third, fourth, fifth, sixth opinions. And, and I think to start building trust, you go in and you go and see the doctor. If you're getting a bad vibe, you don't like it, you go to a different one till you find one that you like. And I think you can start building trust that way. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, it requires a lot. It requires work, man. And the one thing about life in general is to do anything that's going to be what word I want to use. Whatever successful looks like in your mind, it is still is going to require work. And for us to be successful in that field, we may have to do a little more work than some other fields, and use resources to, like you said, build trust, build a community where those things are possible, and also give room for some white doctors who aren't out for culturally black people to also be that helping bridge as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, man, that's it's a slow build, I think, as well as everything else has been, to just kind of get to a point where we have those same opportunities um, and accessibilities.
Okay. And I totally agree. Yeah, I'm not even gonna add on to that because y'all summed it up perfectly.
Speaking of trust, how does a trial work? Just a regular trial.
Yeah,
How does that
yeah.
work?
Talk about this. Talk about this.
How does just a regular trial work? I'm just curious. So
Well, the way it's supposed to work, I mean, the prosecution, they get up and do their thing and say what happens and say what the defense did wrong. And I mean, they put it all out there. And once all the evidence is produced, it's supposed to be enough evidence that is beyond a reasonable doubt. And the jury is supposed to take all that evidence into consideration and
you
they
said
convict
the
or, acquit
jury.
accordingly.
You said the jury. Okay. So I haven't been to court a lot. I watch a lot of TV shows.
Me neither. Yeah, put that out there.
Yeah, I just throwing it out there.
But you been so you just saying you watched a lot of Judge Judy, huh?
Yeah, watch a lot of Judge Judy. Yes, sir.
Perry Mason.
All that. I just sit all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see the jurors come in there and they select the jurors. Okay, you're good. You're biased. You're out of here. You're biased. You're out of here.
Mhm.
Okay, you're not biased. You can stay. You can stay. But it seems like in this trial of this impeachment, I don't understand how, if the jurors are Republican, and you got your Democrats and you got your Republican jurors that already know that they're biased and what they're going for. How is this I'm not understanding. how this works?
Exactly.
Anybody know?
No, I haven't
It's,
seen much of the trial, so I'm not sure who is what going on. But I mean, with that,
well,
I believe.
break it down for him, Drew. Give him like
Well, I mean, it.
a rough draft.
I don't understand it a lot myself either. But they keep saying it's an impeachment trial. I keep hearing the words trial, so I'm thinking, okay, well, the judge and the defense and prosecutors, blah blah blah. But I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing, they have to have a certain amount of Republicans vote to acquit, and a certain amount of, all the way across. But if you're already coming in saying, okay, well, this is a witch hunt, this is how this you're already showing that you're biased. And
Right.
so what's the point of us even doing this? What's the point of having this trial if we already know that nothing's
Right.
going to happen because you got biased Republicans already because they're trying to prolong their career or whatever have you. I just don't understand this whole process of what they're doing. I really don't. I don't understand how, Trump didn't even have to show up for trial.
Yeah.
It's just his lawyers. Whenever these are the same Republicans that went after Hillary Clinton, trial after trial after trial, all these other trials, but yet when it's their turn in the hot seat, there's no accountability. I don't understand that. Like I'm dumbfounded of what's going on. So I've been just listening to the trial, and I'm watching the prosecutors just lay out like all the videos that they're showing and all the tapes that they're showing leading up to this insurrection and leading up to the terrorist storming the Capitol, and watching the videos of these police officers getting Trump killed, trampled on, you know what I mean? And just fearing for their lives, watching these Congress people running, fearing for their lives. And yet you still got people like, hey, he's innocent. He didn't do nothing. Like I don't understand. That's why I'm asking. How does a trial work?
Well, I think what we're seeing is the hypocrisy of not only American politics, but I think we're seeing the hypocrisy of America as a whole on display. And because I mean, what happened on January 6th? We all know what happened on January 6th. We watched it on TV,
With their own eyes,
and
everybody with their own
this
eyes.
dude had been setting this up, all the way whenever he even started campaigning for
Yeah.
his second run at the office. And I remember clips in early 2019 or even late 2018 where he was already talking about the only way we lose this election is if it's rigged and this and that and the other. So he was already starting to lay the foundation for something like this to happen. And then we hear
Yeah.
the phone calls where he's begging for these votes from the people over in Georgia. And then on the very day of the 6th, you see where he's talking about you got to fight like hell for your country, and if you don't fight, you're going to lose your country, and da 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 da. And then we see people live tweeting out, these people's locations and things like that. So we see all this stuff happening, and now the very party that is responsible, because this Donald Trump is the Republican Party's problem. He is their monster. They created this monster, and now they don't want to deal with the BS that he comes along with. But you're
Well,
seeing the
not enough of them.
hypocrisy, right? You're seeing the hypocrisy of America be put on display, because now when the Republican Party had the majority, when they was all about Hillary's emails and all this woman, she deleted 33,000 emails that apparently didn't even contain classified information. But there was this big old deal made about this, and then we had the whole deal with President Obama and Ben in the Benghazi incident from 2012, I believe that was, and they made a big deal about it. Now, I don't want to discard the Benghazi incident because people did get killed in that. So I'm not tossing that to the side. I'm
Right.
only throwing that in there for context purposes because when something like that happened, I mean, it was one of those deals where it's kind of just like, okay, I think it was like some kind of wartime conflict or something like that. And these soldiers end up getting killed. God bless their souls. But they were ready to basically throw President Obama out of the office for that.
Office. Exactly.
And here this dude is who basically directly attacked the democracy of this country,
Hmm.
one of the founding blocks of this country, willingly. And by all accounts, he was basically, and I got to be careful how I word this. He was going to basically let some bad stuff happen to Mike Pence and some other people inside that Capitol. And I'm gonna leave it at that. But y'all know what I'm saying.
Well,
So
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
you
ahead.
got all this happening, and now you have his very party talking about let's just move on. Um, we don't want
Yeah.
to, but see, but again, going back to King's favorite word, accountability. They don't
Hmm.
want to deal with the accountability of their actions because the thing about it is, now they want to preach about unity when they spent the last 4 years trying to tear this country apart.
Let's lower the
When
temperature.
yeah, let's lower the
Get
temperature because
your
when he was in office, think about it, it was the whites against the blacks, the Democrats against the Republicans. It was America against Mexico, America against China, America first. And, we're not dealing with other countries. He took us out of the World Health Organization. He separated us from, I think it was the Paris Climate Agreement. Then they got rid of the whole pandemic response team that was over there in China, which, if you tie that into what's going on right now with COVID-19, we could have been had a better handle on COVID had they left all this stuff alone. So they spent the last 4 years, basically dividing this country from the rest of the world and even dividing this country even more within itself. That now all of a sudden they want to talk about unity, but there can be no unity without accountability.
without
And
accountability.
unfortunately, this
Exactly.
dude, he's gonna get away with it. I
He
mean,
will.
let's
Yeah.
just be honest. He's
Period.
gonna get it. Well, let me rephrase that. He's going to get away with it in this instance, but eventually, it's like my mom said, what's done in the dark will come to the light. What goes around comes around. And eventually, God is the author of karma. Karma takes great notes. Karma will circle back around to this dude one way or another, and he will get his. But unfortunately, on this particular stage, it looks like he's going to get away with this.
Yeah, but the problem is if he gets away with that, we're on a international stage right now. Everybody's watching us and how we're handling it and what we're doing.
Exactly.
So if we let this get away, let him do whatever he wants to do and then just brush it over the rug like slap on the wrist, what
Hmm.
what message is that sending to everybody else? Like,
Well,
and then two,
and that's a good question.
my big thing, and this is strictly up my opinion.
Hmm.
No one supports this is just my opinion,
Hmm.
but I felt like Donald Trump was going to find a way to become a dictator somehow or other. And I think this was his whole plan because he knew what he was doing. He knew what they
Hmm.
were to do. He wanted them to overthrow the government.
Yeah.
If all those supporters go and overthrow the government and elect him dictator, then he got what he wanted. And look how close he was.
Yeah, he was very close. He was closer than what they want to admit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I mean, there's no way this was. He's been planning this and plotting this. This was definitely premeditated.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the evidence is out there. I mean, a few days before this even happened, the mayor of DC put in a request to have the National Guard come in because the intelligence community had been saying, "Look, we've been looking at all the social media boards. This thing is coming." Da 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 da. And the DC mayor asked for National Guard backup, and the Trump administration denied the request. I think it was 2 or 3 days before all this happened. And I mean, this is not conspiracy that we're saying. This is stuff that's on the record. When you go back and look at some of the videos, I know y'all have seen it. You see cops actually opening the barriers, letting these people in. And I, I, I was shocked. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Um, but but Drew, going back to what you were saying about the message that we're sending, I mean,
Right.
that's a really good question because now you're opening the door for basically America to be a target
Hmm.
because now you see other countries saying, "Oh, well, this dude did this. Well, if this dude can do it and get away with it, then I'm gonna take it to a bigger scale." Well, we already know Russia got its eyes on, hurting America. We already know that China is got some beef with America as well, and you hear a lot of the messaging coming out of DC right now is China's the next thing that people need to really watch out for because China got its eyes on running some things. So that's a very good question because now America's at a crossroads, and not only are we at a crossroads with other countries, but or as far as this whole Donald Trump thing goes, but you got senators that push this stuff along as well. Are they not going to expel them from the Senate? Or so you
Exactly.
mean to tell me y'all gonna keep y'all six-figure, salaries? And so basically, what's being put on display is that you can basically do whatever you want to do in America, and you'll go through a little bad PR, but ultimately you'll get away with it.
And at the
So,
very
in
least,
other words, we're sending a very, very, very bad message right now.
I agree. I agree. And at the
And
very least, I'm
do
sorry.
you
Go ahead.
know, it's yeah.
Go
No,
ahead. Go
you're
ahead.
good. I just it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out in history because it may not be a
Exactly.
year now. It may not be 2 years from now. This could drag on, 20 or 30 years, and somebody may come out of the blue. So, there's things what happened on January 6th, and these actions that are following thereafter, and it's looking like we're real solid. This is how democracies fall.
Well, look how easy it was
So
for them to take the Capitol.
exactly.
That shows a weakness, a big weakness, and everybody's watching this. Everybody.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we've seen democracies fall in the past. So America's not immune, and America has a lot of stuff in her past. So I mean, who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows what's gonna go on from here? It's a very, very it's kind of scary to think about when you really sit back and look at what's going on.
Well,
Yeah. There it is.
Black History Month, guys.
Exactly. Black History Month, man. Black history. There was another topic I was going to talk about, but I forgot what it is.
With social media, with the
Oh yeah, the Chloe Bailey thing, man. Basically what that was, I don't know if y'all got a chance to really see what ended up happening, but this has been a week or two ago. But basically, y'all know who Chloe and Halle is, right? The singing group, the two sisters.
they came up under kind of like Beyonce's proteges.
I think so. I don't know a whole lot about them, but I know Chloe Bailey. She's got this, she ain't nothing but like 22, 23 years old. And she's got that really, really good girl image. And, now by all accounts, she is she's not out there acting crazy and everything else. And she does have a really good, clean image to her. But she put up, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 videos where she was talking about, showing off her femininity and, when she dances, she feels sexy. And there was a video where she put up, I think she was like in a t-shirt and panties, and she lit a candle and she was saying, I'm, cleansing my room or something like that. And she had some music playing in the background. She was smiling and she was dancing and everything. Now, I ain't gonna lie, the little sister's fine, but that's not the whole point of her video. She wasn't making it like, oh, I'm trying to put this out there just so I can get the likes and the clicks. Well, anyway, what ended up happening is you had women that just, as soon as that video dropped, they just tore this sister down. And they, talked about how she was putting her body out there and, you supposed to be a role model. And and then it went from you supposed to be a role model to, I don't understand why women put themselves out there like this, And I mean, it really got to the point where it was like, okay, this is, I'm not even comfortable where this is going right now, because all this young lady was talking about was, cleansing her room, and she was just dancing. I mean, it was like an innocent dance. It wasn't like she was being provocative. But the whole thing that I took from it, man, was like literally just a week before, society was praising this young lady. And here it was, less than 7 days later, they were tearing her down to the point where she ended up releasing a video talking about, the insecurities that she had with her body in the past. And, now she's at a point in life where she feels secure with herself. She's secure with her femininity. And when she dances, she feels sexy. She broke it down to basically all the feelings and emotions that a woman goes through. And this is why she was putting up these videos. And it got down to the point where she started crying. So for me, it was just like, wow, it just goes to show you how fickle society is and how society needs to pick a side. Because on one side, we live in a society that will literally tell a woman to express herself, and you need to be you and be free. And if a woman wants to wear these short shorts and do this and that and the other, then she should be able to do it. And on the very same side, this same society that when a woman does that, will break down her body, will tell her she's a hoe, will tell her, oh, you need to cover up the cottage cheese, or you need to cover up that cellulite, which is something that is completely and utterly natural, and it's not even a bad thing. So for me, I took the message of, you just got to live your life. You just got to do what's best for you, because society don't know what society wants. And at the end of the day, you got to just do what's best for you. So I guess that's the whole message out of this.
I agree.
Yeah, take it away, King.
I'll say first of all, insecurity has a major platform on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's insecure for a bunch of different reasons, and sometimes I think when you're insecure about things and you see somebody else having confidence, it'll scream at you, even though you're insecure about the thing that they're not even being confident in. It's like the insecurity is totally different. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, what I would say to her or anybody is, one, do whatever you feel, but understand what comes with it in whatever regard you do. You got to have thick skin.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have thick skin, and whenever fame comes with a price, man. And I'm not saying
Yes.
she sought out being famous, but now that she is, she just got to know that, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
And, if she can be good about that and, don't put out no more, videos of herself crying, just be mentally tough and like cry to a therapist. Go back to that. Like talk to somebody,
Yeah.
cry to a
Yeah.
therapist. Don't cry to social media because it doesn't do nothing but raise the plight for more people to talk. And then people will come
There
to
you go.
your defense, but it's going to keep a tornado of things just circling
It's that
around and
vicious
around.
cycle. Yeah.
Yeah. And being a celebrity is gonna always come with major attention and opinions, and you have to be okay
Mm-hmm.
with it. Like Kim Kardashian's daughter, she's paying high dollars for this astute art teacher to teach her how to paint, and she put up a painting her daughter did, and people were saying that she faked it, and so Kim Kardashian was like, "How dare you speak about my daughter?" Who I feel like is intelligent, who's being taught by literally one of the world's best art teachers, this kind of specific way of doing art, and so she's doing it, and it's like, but nobody knew that she was doing the art. So when you posted it, you have to know that somebody's going to say something, and this kind of is the reason why, like we was talking about in the other episodes, shameless plug. Go, that's why Instagram. I have a love hate relationship with it, or social media in general, is because man, like you know what? Do I have to put that to Instagram or can I just post that in my house or send it to the group text of the family and be like, look what baby girl did? And let
Exactly.
everybody call them and be like, and let's leave it there rather than putting it on social media for people. It's ugly. Because people gonna always hate anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they feel like Kim Kardashian took the short road to success or the long road or
Hmm.
whatever she did to get where she got. Like that's going some of you you never know that may stem from people's continuous reason they may say
Yeah.
things they say. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that's been going on since she was with Ray J. You know what I mean? Yeah, and so at the end of the day, man, it's like you gotta be clear about like what you're getting yourself into when you get in those kind of situations, and you just kind of gotta have thick skin. And then definitely women, I'll say this, and women, they come with sometimes even a larger target
Yeah.
because I mean,
Yeah.
but if she was a swimsuit model, we call it okay. If she was maybe white and a swimsuit model,
Well,
then it's
Mm-hmm.
okay, huh? Or I don't know. And so sometimes it's your own people.
yeah.
And and I like she said, she had already kind of but the thing about it is it don't matter if she had panties and a t-shirt on or a dress. Yeah, you can't miss her figure.
Right.
You can't miss her figure. So at the end of the day, for the creep who's already undressed her with his eyes anyway, what does it even so miss me with trying to overly dictate how she do things. Just let her do what she do. And if she get in trouble from doing it, that's between her and the trouble she has to deal with.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna go a different way with it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with, and I agree with you. I heard what you're saying, but I think it's that age old tale. You got a child actor or a child dancer coming of age, and they want to break out of that child role into an adult role. You know what I'm saying? And that's I think that's crazy for people to want to try to pigeonhole her and keep her in this child role when she's not a child anymore. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? She wants to expand, her career and expand things she wants to do, but we're sitting here trying to tell her how to dictate her career and how she need to move with her career.
Mm-hmm.
This it's not you. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
what do you have to do? Anything you have to do with it? Nothing. You know, that I really think that's her, really trying to step out of that child, growing up child star or child role
Hmm.
and becoming a woman, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I just really think, and a lot of kids go through that. A lot of kids stars who travel into it. I mean, Justin Bieber, he wowed out when he, became an age, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
know, a lot. So I just think that people just need to relax and mind their damn business sometime.
Yeah,
Right.
but they're gonna keep that microscope
Hmm.
on those kind of people, man. I think, and going back to the insecurity, man, it definitely has a huge platform, man, because people are waiting for people who have done big or big. They're waiting for them to fall. Some people are waiting for them to fall.
They waiting on the phone, and that's the thing. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, King.
No,
My
no,
fault.
that's all. That's all I was saying.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like our society is good for that. Like we'll build people up specifically just to watch them fall, and we've seen that time and time and time again. I still remember when Ronda Rousey went through that. I remember when, well, and she brought a lot of that on herself because she had a big mouth. She was talking all that trash,
But you know
but
what? But I don't even think that's a demise. The thing about it is, what we should say? I said it well. I mean, she won. She talked too much, and she met her match. All right, end of the
hmm
day. All right, so next thing, well, what else is going on? Oh yeah, I got these bills I need to pay, or I got a job I want to do, or I got a career I want to pursue. I
yep,
see it, I understand it, I respect it, I acknowledge it, and then I move on. Like I'm not gonna
exactly,
spend my time to the Ronda Rousey, Ronda. No, I'm not
right,
gonna do that.
right. Yeah.
I'm gonna see it, talk about it, keep it moving. Boom.
Exactly. I'm gonna do what I do. And but now going back to the insecurity thing, I do understand where Chloe is coming from that one because I ain't gonna lie, like when I was bigger, I had a lot of insecurities, bro. Like I would not let people take pictures of me. I didn't take pictures of myself. Like if I would have been in the same boat that I was in 2 or 3 years ago, I wouldn't even be doing this podcast. Well, not the video version of it. I would have did the audio version because like the first podcast I did, that was a big reason why it was audio based because I ain't gonna put myself in front of camera and let these people see me. And I remember like when I was at my biggest, and I'm still not gonna tell people what I was at my biggest. That maybe down the road somewhere. But when I was at my biggest, man, there are no pictures that exist of me, and specifically for that reason. So when the weight did start coming off, it was like, okay, I have no problem, putting myself out there. And I still don't put out a lot of pictures on social media. I'm just not a person that has to take a selfie, everywhere I go. I mean, I just, that's just not me.
Well, I have a
But I'm
question.
much, what's up?
So, when you was insecure about your weight, did
Hmm.
that easily make you insecure in other areas just because you were already insecure there? And would it sometimes make you kind of cast those insecurities on, or the problems of your insecurities on other people, even though it wouldn't be in the same area?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the insecurities that I had, I know kind of talked about this on, I think it was episode 2. One of the insecurities that I had when it came down to my weight, a lot of time I wouldn't, and I love getting up and speaking in front of people. I wouldn't get up and do public speaking things. And, I was working at another media place at the time, and I got up a few times and did it. But man, when I was up there the entire time, I was terrified because and that's normally not me. Like normally I can walk into a room and I'll have no problem talking in front of people. But it affected me. I mean, it affected like the way I was speaking. I was up there, I was stuttering, I was prepared, but I was stuttering because I was, instead of me focused on what I was saying, I was focused on how these people may be perceiving me because of my weight. Or
Mm.
even going into the whole dating aspect. A lot of times I wouldn't talk to people. I wouldn't talk to women because it was like, okay, if I get with her or if I try to talk to her, she's either gonna turn me down, which I had a big fear of rejection. Now I don't fear rejection like I used to. I mean, it still sucks. And if she reject me, I'll leave her alone. But I don't fear it like I used to. Like I have no issue going and talking to a woman and saying and trying, shooting my shot, as we say. I don't have any issues doing that. Um, and then I guess, but when I was insecure, when it came down to the dating thing, I either wouldn't attempt, or if I did talk to a young lady, and I know I said this to y'all a few weeks ago. If I did talk to her, the minute I started feeling like I was catching feeling for her, I'd quit talking to her.
Self
And
sabotage.
yeah, because it was like, oh no, I'm starting to like this young lady. She ain't gonna do nothing but hurt. I'm gonna hurt her before she hurts me. So let me get out. Let me cut this before it get too deep. So That's really how my insecurities affected me. And I mean, it have even affected me in developing friendships. There was a lot of people that I did not allow myself to get close to friendship wise because it was like, okay, I'll let this person get so close to me, but I'm not going to tell them the deepest, parts of me. I'm not going to trust them like that because eventually this person is going to hurt me. Now, they may not have had any, interest in hurting me. They may have had the best of intentions when it came down to our friendship, but I didn't even give my chance to self. I didn't even give myself a chance to find that out in a lot of ways because those insecurities that were rooted into my weight affected me in other areas of life.
And that's,
So
and that's how I'm speaking to how I feel like people will do it, and it's easier to do it
yeah.
when you can put up a fake picture or you
Mm-hmm.
put up no picture and you keep your account private, and you
Yeah.
can and your fingers can go to war for you,
Mm-hmm.
figuratively. And it's like blah 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 blah. And I mean, you could be insecure about cooking, and now you about to take it out because you think because she cute because she can cook. No, 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 not necessarily. I mean,
Right.
whatever it may be, and that
You're
sounds
right though.
very,
You're right.
that sounds very facetious, and I meant it like that. But in a serious note, like it's easy, I feel like, to take your insecurities out on people when they're not even like doing something
Aware.
or showing their confidence in an area that
Mm-hmm.
you insecure about.
Right.
But it'll start bleeding over. So
In a lot of ways, in a lot of times, I know for me personally, I didn't even realize the areas I was insecure. I didn't realize I had these insecurities until I lost the weight. So it was like once I started doing something about it, it was like, oh, now I started realizing why I was having these feelings and why I was going about stuff the way I was going about. Like, how when you're doing something, you're doing it, but you don't stop and think about it. It just kind of like happens.
It's a
But then when
reflex.
you look back on stuff, it's like, oh, now I see why my mindset was like that. Now I see why I was operating like that. And in some cases, it's just like, bro, what was you thinking?
yeah.
So it's a two-way street. But yeah, you're right, King. You're absolutely right. When you have insecurities, a lot of time they will bear themselves in ways that you cannot even imagine. And sometimes you may be projecting those insecurities on somebody and you don't even realize it.
Right.
You know, but that's all I had on that subject, man.
Yeah. Me too.
I felt bad for old girl, man, because I mean she's a very talented actress,
Yeah.
very talented actress, singer, dancer. The sister's cold when it comes down to performing, and it's just, man,
Yeah.
I felt bad for her when I saw her on that video crying.
Even putting videos up of her doing production. So I think what she got to do is be laser focused
Mm-hmm.
and stick to her guns, and
Yeah.
whatever your guns are and whatever your convictions are, let those be your convictions. Whatever is not your conviction, then go for it. I mean, there's people doing far worse on social media than whatever she posted. So
Yeah.
let that be between her and her convictions, and just keep doing you.
Hell, the people that are tearing her down probably doing far worse than what she doing. You don't even
Far
I'm
know.
worse, bro.
sure. I'm
Far
sure. I
worse.
mean, yeah, So straight
Yes,
like
sir.
that.
Man, well, look, that's all I got for this week. This has been it's been a crazy one.
Yeah.
So
Well, ending on a high note.
yeah.
I mean, Tom Brady, he all right.
Yeah, I was gonna ask y'all what y'all thought about the Super Bowl.
Man, you know what? Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I'm gonna leave it at that. There's no need to explain who he is, what he's done. He, even if he's not necessarily the best person, he does a good job of rallying people. I don't know what he says in the locker room, but he clearly does a good job of getting people to be laser focused and
And get them to be what?
accountable.
Accountable.
Like,
There
hey,
you
oh
go.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. The way Tom be yelling at people, I would have to yell back at him because I'm gonna be
I'm
like,
trying to tell you. Yeah.
what? Yeah, you gonna get that right back. Cause
Yeah. I'm giving you that
what?
same energy. Don't yell at me.
Yeah, but at the same time, this shows a lot of who he is, and I'll also say he showed more character than I've seen him have to show in recent years with Belichick, because Bruce Arians was really throwing him under the bus week to
He
week.
was
And
big time.
sometimes he would eat it, and I'd be like, all right, cool, Tom. So just seeing a win just created, I feel like, a new respect, not in the GOAT talk and none of that, but in those other areas outside of necessarily, being a quarterback or a football player, as far as like a captain. I've been a team captain before, and like those roles can be a little different when you're trying to rally grown men. When you're kids, it's a little different because,
Right.
but when you got another grown man and trying to be like, come on, dog. No, man, I got this. Oh, all right, cool. So yeah, kudos to Tom, man.
I'm gonna say two things. First thing I'm gonna say is I'm a believer. Now I believe. I didn't before. Now I believe. You took Tampa Bay, a team that everyone forgot about a year ago, to Super Bowl champion. Cool. I'm a believer. You the GOAT. Cool. Whatever. He the GOAT. Second, we just gonna glaze over the fact that I predicted that Tom Brady and Kansas City was gonna be in the Super Bowl. We just gonna glaze over that?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You
Okay.
did.
Is that what we
You
doing?
did. I forgot about that.
So what do you? So you want a sports journalism degree?
You know what, bro? I want to be honorary sports head of the day. You know what I
Got
mean?
you.
Okay.
This is all yours. That's your award, dog. That's all
right.
yours. I
Nah,
forgot
but
all
I'm
about
good.
that,
That's
man.
it,
I
man.
forgot all about that.
Yeah. Well,
Man, my whole deal was I was personally hoping that an earthquake or some other act of God would come through and wreck that game. But, because I do not like Tom Brady because, you know what I'm saying? Well, let me rephrase that because I don't know Tom Brady I don't know what he's like as a person. I don't like Tom Brady, the football player, because I remember all in the past when he was crying for flags and the rest was, on the Patriots side. I ain't forgot none of that. And
Don't forget the Flakegate.
Deflategate, Spygate, all that, man. I'm just not with that. Those are things that's always gonna be on his resume, at least as far as I'm concerned. I mean, now I may not like him as a football player, but I definitely respect him. Now I do gotta put this out there. The Denver Broncos are the only team in the league that has a winning record against Tom Brady. No joke.
Wow.
They're
Okay.
the only
I hear
ones that
you.
have a winning record against
good
Tom
night.
Brady.
It's
I'm,
time to
I'm
go.
just saying, I've got to put that out there. Got to represent
go.
for my boys. And then on top of that, like not only I don't like Tom Brady, the football player, so I was kind of halfway rooting against him in that regard, but I definitely wasn't rooting for the Chiefs. That Super Bowl, it was just like it was just another game to me. Now I'll give the Bucks defense props. They lit that boy up.
Yeah, they look great.
They lit that boy up.
What's that linebacker? That dude kind of remind me of a young
Lamonte David?
No, not him. The other
Shaq
one.
Barrett?
No.
Number 58?
No, White. His last name is White.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his first name.
Yeah, me either. Lil Pookie White. But bro, that dude remind me of Ray Lewis. In every play, he's literally within 1 or 2, 3 to 5 yards of that play. I know that was a lot of them, but he's in the 1 to 5, and he's making a lot of time. Dude, that dude is everywhere. He's really good. Well,
definitely did that.
If you didn't care about no teams playing, then I know why you watch the Super Bowl, bro.
What's that?
You trying to see the weekend? I see you.
Nah, man. You know what? On the cool, I didn't even watch the Super Bowl show, man. Like I was out of it.
He taped it. Nah, I'm gonna go back and watch this one.
Nah, man. Now, if it would have been that Beyonce one or J Lo and Shakira, you'd have had me.
I'm with you.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. When they said the Weeknd was doing the halftime show, I'm like, bro, really, the Weeknd? I mean,
hey, man, bro. Hey, that wasn't nothing but a setup for that 2022 World Tour. He already dropped.
That's what it was. I mean, now the Weeknd is a great artist. He's a great singer, but a performer, I don't know about that.
Hey, man, somebody his sales went up 385% after the Super Bowl.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
but so I ain't gonna hate. The brother can sing. The brother got talent. Cause like I like his music. I mean, the brother got talent. But
well, I mean, that's the whole thing about performing at the Super Bowl. You got such a wide cast net of people. You got new listeners, and you got a broaden your audience. So that's the whole point of the Super Bowl. Performing at the Super Bowl.
Now I'm gonna tell y'all, Deshaun Watson is gonna be a Denver Bronco by the time over the offseason. So
maybe.
I'm speaking that into existence, bro. It's happening.
Y'all